Greetings, folks. Lee Davey here, the Modern Day Samurai. So, step 2 of your 21-day Create Your Life Challenge. We've got the self-image lesson. Now, a lot of this work actually comes from my time studying with Bob Proctor and the Proctor Gallagher organization, so I want to give credit where credit is due. I learned so much from Bob and Sandy Gallagher and Doug Dane at the Proctor Gallagher organization. They were instrumental in helping me to change my thoughts and believe that I can achieve more, create a new self-image for myself, create a new image for my life. As a result, I really have taken huge steps to manifest the life of my dreams. And so that's what I'm trying to provide for you guys, as well as an opportunity to really do some self-assessment, see where you are, see where you want to go, and start creating this life of change and manifesting the life of your dreams. So when we talk about self-image, we want to really look at kind of two components. Dr. Maxwell Maltz, who wrote Psycho-Cybernetics. It's a great book. If you haven't read it yet, I would suggest to get it. So he said that we act, behave, and feel according to what we consider our self-image to be, and we do not deviate from this pattern. So essentially, you cannot outperform your own self-image. And Dr. Maltz was a cosmetic surgeon in the 60s, and essentially he discovered that after performing cosmetic surgery on somebody, that only about 50% of the time they actually felt better about themselves. It led him to postulate that essentially we all have two images of ourselves. We have the one in which we project out into the world, the way we walk and talk, the way we meet and greet people. And then there's the one when kind of all the doors are closed and the lights are off, that's the way that we really feel about ourselves. And that could be the image that is limiting us, that is keeping us from moving forward to manifesting the life of our dreams. So I really want to talk about and go into depth about the self-image today and how we can really change that image moving forward to get us to where we want to go and living the life of our dreams. Just a cute little picture here. You know, what do you see when you look in the mirror, right? And the little kitty sees the big, powerful, very distinguished looking lion. So what do you see when you look in the mirror? And a great little trick or tip that I use with people, if you look at the Resonance Academy, Nassim Haramein, he's essentially mathematically and geometrically proven that we are all one, that we are the universe perceiving itself through our eyes, and that every billionth of a second, essentially, we are feeding the information that we're perceiving back to that of the whole of the universe. And I can, if you want to see that information, you can just post a comment below, and I'm happy to send you a YouTube video with that information. But a cool little trick is to just look in the mirror, look into your own eyes with that knowledge that you are the universe, and you are perceiving through your eyes, through your perception. And when you start to do that, and you do that on a regular basis, it really changes how you perceive yourself. James Allen, As a Man Thinketh. Great little book. It's a little book, great little read. He says that we think in secret and it comes to pass. Our environment is but our looking glass. So when you look at that statement, and in the much of the training that I've gone through from the Proctor Gallagher organization and what Bob and Sandy and Doug teach, to Training in Power, the founder there is Faye Fitzgerald, and what she teaches, to the Resonance Academy, and so on and so forth. Everybody says it maybe with a slightly different perspective. They say it in a slightly different way. But our environment really is a mirror of what's going on inside. And if you don't like what the mirror is reflecting back to you, then you've got to first change what's going on inside, and then the mirror will reflect back to you those changes. Huxley actually said that there's only one corner of the universe that we can change, and that's our own selves. Mind is the master power that molds and makes. And we are mind, and evermore we take the tool of thought, and shaping what we will, bring forth 1,000 joys and 1,000 ills. We think in secret, and it comes to pass. Our world is but our looking glass. So that's just an extension of what James Allen wrote. Bob says it another way. He says, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. Or another way of looking at it is what we give energy to grows. So man, woman, person, human becomes what we think about all day long. The Buddha said, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. The mind is everything. What we think, we become. So I want to talk to you about your results. Right? So when we go back to that image, that image that is the one that we're the kind of the internal image. Our current results really are because of that image. So if you've got a negative image, you're going to have the mirror reflecting back to you negative or not so positive or not where you want to be results. If you have a positive image, then of course you're going to have positive results. So challenges you face, and you guys can post more to the comments section below, but these are some of the ones that I've come up with. They seem to be the ones that are most common in people's lives. So health and fitness, money, setting and creating boundaries, so creating more time and space for yourself so that you can be fulfilled, so that you can work on some of these things, so that you can manifest the life of your dreams. Improving your relationships, starting a business, or taking your business to the next level. Changing your thoughts and patterns, and others. So any others that you guys may have, please post them below for the group to go through. And again, I'm happy to suggest or make suggestions or answer questions or anything like that as we go through this 21-day process. A programmed perception of what and who we are and what we are worth. And that's the inner self-image. So I mentioned that inner self-image. Okay? It's a control mechanism that determines what comes into your life and how well you do. And then we have the outer self-image, which I already mentioned is what we project out into the world. It's how we walk, talk, dress, meet and greet people, right? Or the outer expression of the inner image. Now, how often do you find that you're kind of putting on a happy face? You don't want anyone to see that you're sad or angry or depressed or upset or anything like these sorts of things, these sorts of emotions. And yet we all experience these emotions. And what we typically do is we put on a mask, we put on a happy face to kind of grin and bear it because we don't want anyone to know that we're going through a tough time. And I'll tell you, we all go through tough times. I've just recently gone through a bit of a lack of motivation and inspiration myself, but the practices that I'm giving you, that I'm sharing with you, are practices that I use to, on the days that I'm not feeling so good, to at least get back into neutral so that I can have a better and better day the next day. And Abraham Hicks, if you haven't listened to any of her stuff, or actually Esther Hicks, who channels Abraham, she talks about reaching for better thinking thoughts and better feeling feelings, no matter where you are on that continuum. And as long as you're flowing downstream to these better thinking thoughts and better feeling feelings, then you're going in the right direction. So our results, that mirror image, our environment, our external, will always reflect what's going on internally. Right? So if you have a negative or bad self-image, right, the results are going to be a reflection of that image. So the self-image is fixed in your subconscious mind, right? And in some of the later ones, I'm going to go through the difference between the conscious and subconscious mind. Probably the 30-day or the 7-week challenge. So you'll have to stay tuned in to get all the information here. But the self-image that is fixed in your subconscious mind will determine how the rest of the world sees you. So only you have the ability to alter, improve your self-image. So perfection resides at the center of your consciousness. So I want you to think about, just kind of close your eyes for a second, and I want you to think about when you were born. Okay, you were born of purity, you were born of essence, you were born of love. And it was before you ever were told that you couldn't do something, that it wasn't right, that it was just your imagination, that you didn't have the money or the means, or so we come in as essence, we come in as purity, and then we get programmed over top all of the lack and limitation. And I would suggest to you that there is perfection that lies within you. And when you reach back for that perfection and you let go of all the external programming that came in from others, right? So we talk about paradigms a lot, and a paradigm is a multitude of habits that is given to you or passed on from generation to generation. So passed on to from our parents, passed on to us in the school curriculum and school environment. And so we attach to a way of thinking and a way of perceiving ourselves that isn't actually us, right? And I talk about it as the persona of ourselves, and that persona is the ego that essentially is given to you. That's not how we're born. So you want to reach for that essence, that perfection that lies within. And as you do that, there's no end to the good that you can experience as you develop a greater awareness to who you are and what you're capable of. And again, this diagram is from the Proctor Gallagher organization. Bob Proctor drawing the little genie, it's called, comes from Dr. Thurman Fleet, who was a doctor in the healing arts in the 1930s and 1934, I believe, 1932, 1934. And he postulated that if we were going to have any true healing, we would have to have an image of the mind. So if everyone that is listening to this thinks of the mind currently, what do you tend to think of? You tend to think of the brain, right? The brain is not the mind. Okay, the mind is in everything. It's in every cell. It's in every part of your being. I'll do another little exercise with you. I want you to think of your refrigerator. Okay, so close your eyes and think of your refrigerator. What color is it? How many doors? Which way do they open? Now think of your vehicle. What color is it? How many doors? What color is the interior? So what happens is a picture pops onto the screen of our mind. You see, we think in pictures. And so if there's no picture, it leads to frustration. No picture of the mind, that leads to frustration for people. So this is the picture that Dr. Thurman Fleet and now Bob Proctor has been using for over 50 years to give people to when they consider thinking about the mind. And so the top part of the circle is the conscious mind. That's the intellect, and the bottom part of the circle is the subconscious mind, or the emotional mind. Now, when we look at the self-image, you've got X self-image type thoughts in the conscious mind, the intellect. You've got X self-image type feelings in the subconscious mind. So the subconscious and the conscious match, which creates X type feeling in the body. Right? So that's the vibration that we're in, and that gives you the results that you're getting. So you want to create new results. You want to create a different mirroring from the external world reflecting back to you. You've got to change your self-image. And so you start to create and visualize and imagine you, that essence you, as you've always known yourself to be underneath this programming, underneath these layers that were given to you. You reconnect with that image and you see yourself speaking, you see yourself happy, you see yourself abundant, you see yourself easygoing, you see yourself on stage, connecting with others easily, whatever it is for you, right? And you see that image and you connect with it. And so that starts by using your imagination, and you start thinking those type of thoughts as if it's already happened. And then you start to impress that image, that new self-image, on the subconscious mind. So through repetition, you repeat it over and over again. You write it out over and over again. You say it out loud over and over again. And as you start to repeat that, the subconscious habitual way of seeing yourself starts to be replaced by this new visualization, by this new imagination practice. Because the subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between what's real or imagined. And so you look at this new image that you've created of yourself, perhaps the one that you've always known yourself to be, perhaps that essence self, of you when you came into this world, before all the all the lack and disbelief was placed on you. And you repeat that over and over and over again, and it starts to change. It creates a new neurology. It creates a new picture for you to work with. And as you create that new neurology, the old neurology starts to fade away, starts to give away, starts to weaken, and the new neurology strengthens and strengthens and strengthens. And of course, that creates a different vibration, a different feeling. So feeling is just a word that we've given to describe the vibration that we're in. So it creates a new vibration, a new feeling within the body. And as you create that new vibration, you're going to start taking different steps. You're going to start perceiving through a new set of eyes. You're going to start looking at the world and your circumstances and yourself differently. And as you do that, you're going to start to create new and better and improved and more abundant and happier and more healthy results. So if any of this does not make sense, please, because I'm skipping over the conscious, subconscious mind lesson, because it's not a part of this challenge, right? So as you continue with me on this journey into the 30-day challenge, and then the 7-week challenge, and then the coaching, you're going to have more and more tools to be able to work these various areas. So what happens is we have a fear. There's a fear that comes up when you start to create these new images, when you start to create this change in your life. And it's because you don't have any real world experience. You don't have any neurology. You don't have any pictures to match what you're going for. And so what happens is we hit what Bob calls it is the terror barrier. So we hit this fear barrier, this terror barrier, and we bounce right back into, you know what, maybe it's not the right time, maybe I'm better off where I am, I should count my lucky stars, I have a job, I need to start a business, who am I to start, thinking that people are going to want to listen to me on stage. All these thoughts that come from the paradigm, come from the old belief system, start to enter your conscious mind, and so you hit those fears, because it's not a comfortable feeling. You're not comfortable anymore. You're stepping outside of the comfort zone. You're stepping outside of what you know, and habit is comfortable. It may not be ideal, but it is comfortable. And as you start to step outside of that, without understanding where these fears, where these thoughts, where all this negativity is coming from, you hit that wall and you bounce right back into bondage, and you put off for another week, another month, another 6 months, another year, another 10 years, what you desire. With understanding comes freedom. And so it doesn't mean that the fear goes away, it doesn't mean that the anxiety goes away, but you step out and you do the thing, right, that you're thinking about, or you become the person that you're thinking about, or you start to reach out and talk to people, connect with people. You connect with people in line at the coffee shop that maybe your old self is not used to doing. And you find out, that wasn't that bad. I can do this. And it doesn't mean the fear goes away, but now you've got the exercises, the writing, the repetition of the image that you're creating new and strengthening that neurology with. And then you've got the experience to go with that. And as you continue to do that new experience, you continue to act in that new way, then that becomes the freedom that you're searching for. That becomes your new way of perceiving that situation and yourself. And then you've got to set bigger goals. You've got to create a new self-image and go even higher. Writing the script of you. So utilizing the law of polarity, I want you to write out the image that you have of yourself in this moment. So all of the lack, all of the negative thoughts, all of the things, why things can't be done, why it's not the right time, how it's too difficult, you don't have the money, etc., etc. Okay? Now what you're going to do, using the law of polarity, everything has an opposite. In, out, up, down, right, left, yin, yang, night, day. And they are just opposites of the same thing. So if you've got the negative image, self-image, then, and maybe negative is the wrong word, maybe it's limiting. Maybe it's lack. Maybe it's a belief that you don't have or you can't do, or that sort of thing. Or it could be health-wise that you're not ready to start a nutrition program, or you can't stick to a nutrition program, or you can't stick to a training program. Whatever it is for you, okay, write it out the way it is now, and then write out the polar opposite. So again, going back to that essence self, going back to what you've always known to be true. And so you see yourself already as that person doing exactly as you were meant to. Okay, so again, get very, very specific. Include how you're dressed, how you feel, how you're providing service, making more money. Is it easier for you to talk to people? So be as specific as possible. And when you complete that, shred or burn the old one. Okay, so it's symbolic. It doesn't mean it goes away, but there is power. There is an energy that's involved with all of this, and there is power to burning it. So burn it, and then commit the other one to repetition. Write it out 20 times, 30 times, 50 times, 100 times daily. Say it out loud. Make a little recording of yourself. And then finally, I want you to write out your perfect day. Okay? So write out your perfect day. And so what does that, I often say if you had to repeat the same day for the rest of your life over and over and over again, Groundhog Day, if you will, what would that day look like? So for me, for example, I structure the first part of my day, it's all about myself. So I visualize, I meditate, I work out, I do breath work, I do cold therapy. Then I'll perhaps watch some educational videos, do some energy building. So it's all about me. I focus on myself first so that I am full. We did the second challenge was the 7-day self-first challenge, so creating time and space for yourself so that your cup is full, so now you're able to give more freely and more abundantly to those you love and to others in your life, maybe those that you're coaching. And so I make sure that I'm absolutely full first, and then I start my day, whether it's creating these videos, whether it's working on my website, whether it's meetings or coaching sessions. So what does that look like for you? Write out your perfect day and then reflect on it. When we talk about knowledge and understanding versus ignorance, worry and doubt, when we go back to the slide that talks about the fears, right? So these fears come up as you create these new images, as you create this new neurology, as you create these new pictures, and that's when the worry, doubt, fear, and anxiety come up in the body. So it's not a very comfortable feeling because you're stepping outside of what you've always known. You're stepping outside of the habitual, comfortable way of tending to your daily life. And so there's a discomfort in that because it's forcing you to grow. It's forcing you to draw on something from within that maybe you didn't know was there, but has always been there. And so if you don't have an understanding of where this fear, the worry, doubt in the conscious mind, the fear in the subconscious mind, and then the anxiety that produces in the body comes from, you're gonna suppress it, which is going to lead to depression, which is going to lead to dis-ease, which is a body that's not at ease, which is going to lead to disintegration. So that's when you start to develop all kinds of aches and pains, and the body starts to shut down. But if you understand where the worry and doubt and fear are coming from, that they're old patterns that were given to you, that is because you don't have a neurology, because you don't have a picture, because you don't have a full understanding of that new image yet, because you haven't gone out and done it, then that gives you the courage and the permission and the knowledge and the understanding, and believe me, the faith that this process works, that this is a process and it does work. You approach it from that knowledge of what's going on. It allows you to step out and really do the thing or be the person that you're creating, that you're visualizing, that you're imagining yourself to be. And as you do that, you're able to approach and move forward with understanding. It creates more and more faith, so you do it and you believe, oh, wow, that wasn't so bad. I can do this. Right? And then you do it again, and then So it creates more understanding and more faith. So you start to spiral up the other way, which creates a well-being in the body. So it creates a feeling of opulence, of gratitude, of abundance, of happiness, right? So you create a strong, happy vibration in the body. And as you do that, it leads to expression because you want to share how you're feeling. You want to share this process, which allows you to accelerate. The body is at ease, which is a creative state. Okay, so there is an understanding, and that understanding really is the key to freedom with all of this. So that is it for the self-image lesson. Any comments, please post them below. Any questions, please post them below, and we will go through this journey together. So we've got our self-image lesson, which is day 2, essentially, of our 21-day Create Your Life challenge. Again, so day 1, the 11 questions, you're going to repeat every day for about 5 days. The self-image lesson, I want you to repeat every day for the next 21 days. Okay, so you're going to continue on with this. You're going to write it out clearly at least once per day. The more that you can write it out, the better. The more clear that you can be, the better. The more precise that you can be, the better. And the more profound this exercise is going to be in your life, and the more results you're going to get, and the better and better you're going to feel. So repeat the 11 questions for the next 5 days. Repeat the self-image lesson. So the way that you'll do that, you'll write it out today. Tomorrow you'll read it a couple times over, close that page, and write it out again, because writing causes thinking, and as you think, you're going to change the image that is in your mind. You're going to get very clear. You're going to get very concise about that image, and it's going to allow you to really build that image and strengthen that image, strengthen that neurology, strengthen those pictures in your mind for you to be able to move forward and create that image and the life that you desire. So Lee Davey, the Modern Day Samurai, signing off.